All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the morning pass rush show. Even though it's not the morning, but we're still calling it that name. With us today, we have two people that were in this morning's episode. Actually, one person. So we have the repeat Vikings user in the building,
What's good?
Coach Blake. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Jay the Kid, aka the Jets, in the house.
Yo, 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 let's get it. Let's get it.
All right, so on this episode, we are breaking down the NFC North. Good old NFC North. Got completely remodeled this season, losing two of the top users in the league and the Lions and the Packers. All three teams in this division this year are brand new. Only one that remains is myself, the Bears. So, with that being said, let's kick it off with the brand new user, Blake, and his commanding Vikings with an amazing record to start the season off. Nobody thought the Vikings would ever have that type of record, especially after what happened. What was it? The past two seasons where they were dead last. So they're sitting at 7-3. Jay the Kid, take it away.
All right, so let's look at this Vikings squad that we just talked about. I mean, no one expected them, to come out of nowhere and do what they've done this season. They're 7-3. I'm looking at the cap space right now. They got 37.67 million in cap. Offensively, they're number 2 in points. They get about 35 a game. 3,952 yards, 2,856 passing yards, and 1,096 rushing yards. Their defense, they're allowing 27 points a game, 3,497 yards, 2,696 yards, and a great rushing yards total of 801 for the season on defense. Let's look at the quarterbacks. We got none other than the Mr. X Factor himself. Recently got up to X Factor, 22-year-old X Factor Jalen Milroe. What more can we say about him? He's a beast, especially the way he's been playing this season. Let's look at his stats real quick. 31 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. I think he's my rookie of the year pick, honestly, as of right now. One of my rookie of the year picks on the Vikings because they got two of them. If I'm being completely honest with you. Kirk Cousins is a backup. I mean, he's old. He probably has that that mentor trait at this point in his career, and he's on a cheap contract to be a backup. 2.05 million, so they're fine there in the quarterback position. Now it's running back room. You got Ty Chandler. That's probably who the Vikings are probably using a lot because Devin Singletary, 86 speed. He's not the best. Antonio Gibson's also a decent running back, but you're probably using that speed and using Ty Chandler because he's got 94, speed and 97 acceleration. So that's pretty good running back room. Your tight end room, you got TJ Hawkinson, one of the best tight ends in football. I mean, 92 overall, 84 speed. He's a great tight end to have. That's about it for the tight end room. He's got Josh Allen and Ogletree, no fullback on the roster. Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettas, 99 overall. He's 26. So he's got him in the prime of his career, of course. Jordan Addison, I think he's about to get traded to the Dolphins. So we're gonna disregard him since he's getting traded. I don't know the full details on the deal, but I know any given Sunday will give you news on that. Peter McMillan, beast. Dude's just a monster this year. I mean, nobody, I didn't have him having the rookie season that he's having right now. We still got like a bunch of games left. We're only like week 12, and this man's already got 1,189 yards this season, which is amazing. And he's got some rushing attempts on there too. So him and Jay Jetta should be a great pairing. I mean, he's like Megatron if you think about it. 6'5", 210. Basically Megatron out there at the wide receiver position. Offensive line, pretty good offensive line. You got Christian Darrisaw in there at a 92 overall. He's 26. Brian O'Neill, he's going to the closer end of his his prime, but he's 91 overall. Garrett Bradbury, center, 83. He's 30, but I mean, still producing, so he'll probably be a good O line to have as they make a playoff run. Ezra Cleveland, 27. So, their O line is mostly in their prime, and they even have Jake Drew, right guard. He's a 22-year-old, and Matt Goncalves, his right tackle, 71 overall. So they got dudes waiting in the reins for O line already. Then I look at this defensive line. I like it. Very young. You got Chop Robinson. I think he was drafted last year. Harrison Phillips, he's aging, but he's still 81. He's still doing pretty good for them. Jerzan Newton, 81 overall. He's 22 years old. They even have a guy I'd probably start training maybe is Omari Abor. For when Harrison Phillips is done and you need another option. That's what I would do. I mean, but they also have Taquan Graham. He's a star dev too. So they got a lot of depth on that D line. Linebacker room, you got Danielle Hunter. I mean, he's a beast. Maybe move him, if you can't trade him, maybe, move him down the end and let him just pass rush. Because I know some sets and Madden, they got the outside linebacker playing zone. So maybe do that if it is like that. But I like it. They got Deion Jones. He's older, but he's still a good user. Brian Asamoah, another good user, middle linebacker. So I mean, decent middle linebacker room. A lot of speed. 87, 89, 87. So there's a lot of speed. And then we go to the corners. Wow, a lot of corners. They got superstar 5'11", Byron Murphy, 27 years old. He's good. Deshaun Elliott, a little bit old, not older, but guy who's like heading towards the end of his prime at strong safety. They got Lewis Fine. He's a monster, 92 speed. Andrew Booth is a pretty good corner, but they got Eric Guyton instead, probably in front of him, 76 overall, and he's 6'2", and he's 2023 with 93 speed. Jay Ward, he's someone I'd maybe start getting some reps over Deshaun Elliott because he's a pretty good player to have. I've used him in a couple other leagues, but yeah, I'd probably let him start getting some reps since he's younger than Deshaun Elliott. So I'd probably let him get more reps. You got Ambry Thomas, he might get traded, I heard, in rumors. So you could just maybe disregard him. We'll see. But pretty good secondary room. I mean, pretty good all around squad, really. I mean, Milrose got protection, decent D line, good linebackers. So all around, I like this team. I'm gonna hand it over to the Bears to talk about how he sees it from his point of view.
All right, so Coach Blake comes into a team that did not win for the past 2 years. Didn't even make third place on the roster on the division. Comes in here, he's got 37.67 mil available. Currently sitting at 35 points a game, which is second best. 39.52 in total yards, sixth best. Passing yards, 28.56, seventh best. Rushing, 10.96, 13th best. This team has explosive firepower. They can score from anywhere in the field, and they can score in a blink of an eye. We know that because we witnessed it firsthand. We just had no answer for. You think you had all the routes covered, and then there goes Milrow right up the middle. Like, damn. So all that stuff gets aggravating when you have to face this team, and they know that they have all the weapons in the right spots. Looking at the quarterback with the new X Factor added, Milrow is going to be a beast for years to come. First season into the NFL, and he's already at 26.93 in total yards passing. 31 touchdowns, only 10 interceptions. Only been sacked 14 times, and they've got all these games played already. Looking at the running backs, pretty much set there as well. 80 attempts for Ty Chandler, 539. Jalen Milroe, 36 rushes, 292 yards. The receiver that you were talking about, McMillan, 18 rushing attempts, 217 yards. So it doesn't matter if it's a running back, halfback, wide receiver, they're running that ball regardless of what you throw at them. So when you have a team that's that explosive, it's kind of hard to defend. And that's why they're having that record that they have right now. Defense, young as hell. That I'm not sure why the last user wasn't able to perform with them. They've had actual three to four coaches carousel that team because they couldn't figure out how to win with them. All it took was Blake to come in and, you know what, let me put my stamp on this team. I know I skipped the offensive line, but there's nothing to talk about there. They're solid. Only 14 sacks given up, so that speaks volume. Defensive line, Chop Robinson, 23 years old. He's a beast. That's a badass name too to have. Deshaun Newton, another beast, 22 years old, 81 overall. Like, you look at the key spots on this team, and they're all under 25 years of age. Like, man, who does that? Linebacker core, yeah, he's getting old in a few spots, so that might be an area to address in this year's draft. This is a very heavy defensive draft that's coming up. Obviously, we got the three quarterbacks that we all know about. But after that, I mean, there's no other quarterbacks coming out of this draft. They're all going to go straight to free agency. Looking at the defensive backs, bro, they got speed for days. At least the starters do. Some of the players out there, you have another play safety, never mind. So yeah, the cornerbacks all got speed. So I mean, there's not really much to say about this team. That I mean, other than they're stacked, and with that salary cap that they have, if they make some key moves, loosen up some salary from older players, and this team's gonna have a nice little free agency bidding with the Cowboys, the Bears, and the Broncos. Touching on that trade that you're talking about, the Miami Dolphins send their second round pick, 5th overall, middle linebacker Channing Tindall, 25 years of age, over to Minnesota for wide receiver Jordan Addison. That trade was approved, and we're going to let the coach let us know how that came about, how excited he is about his team, and then we're going to have his own point of view breaking down his own team. Blake, floor is yours.
Yo, I guess I'll start with the trade. Jordan Addison, he's got a team. He's got a player option next year that I was planning on picking up, but with the trade deadline opening back up, I decided to go ahead and try and move him. It's a pretty crowded wide receiver room, and he just wasn't really a big enough part of the offense for me to command as much money as he was most likely going to want following his player option. So I looked at my team, and I felt my weakness was in my linebackers, mainly their height. Both of my linebackers that I use when I play in like the nickel and the dime are 6'1" and 6 foot, and they just kind of feel small whenever you use them. So I put Jordan Addison on the block out there and kind of listened to some offers, and I found the Dolphins, and I liked a couple of guys on his team. I was in between Divine Diablo and Channing Tindall, and Channing Tindall's 91 speed kind of did it for me. I decided to go ahead and pick him up along with a high second-round pick right now, depending on how the rest of the Dolphin season goes. So I feel like I got good value out of Jordan Addison and really ended up winning that trade, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like we both won because he needed a receiver, But as far as the rest of my team goes, I know the Jets mentioned Jay Ward. He's been playing all year for me. He's actually the favorite for Defensive Player of the Year in the NFC right now. And a couple other things. I am looking to move Ambry Thomas. So if you guys got some offers, let me know. As far as the offense goes, Jalen Milrow, I couldn't ask for anything more than from him. He did have a little gambling problem at the beginning of the season, which might hurt his race for some of the awards. But as far as rookies go on offense, I also have Tatai Roa. I believe that's how you say it, McMillian. I mean, he's been everything you could ask for. We got him in the second round. He can go up and get it. He's too big for the fast, smaller corners, and he's too fast for the bigger corners. And that's the kind of mismatch that you want to create. And he's been great for us. Justin Jefferson, he's not had as big of a role in the offense as he's used to with a guy like McMillian coming in. He kind of takes a little bit of Justin Jefferson's touches away, but he's fine with it. He told me that it kind of helps him. He feels like the field is more open with McMillian on the field, and so I've been happy with that. My offensive line, I want to look to try and address the center position in the upcoming draft, and possibly a right tackle. I looked at Matt Goncalves. The previous coach drafted him, and I wasn't very impressed with his stats and decided to not move forward with progressing him. As far as my defensive line goes, we're young. I like all my players that are on the team. Cornerback room, love it. Safeties, love them. The only thing that's really killing me right now is Danielle Hunter's contract makes him kind of untradeable with how much guaranteed money he has. So I'm kind of stuck with him until he retires because he's on a 7-year deal, I believe. So, which is okay because he is an X factor, but I would like to get a little bit younger at his position, maybe move him down to where he's exclusively playing end and not just in nickel sets. As far as my team goes, I'm really happy with them. I'm ready to make a run in the playoffs. Back to you, Bears.
Playoffs? Talking about playoffs? With that being said, the next two teams that we're about to talk about are in that same hunt right there for the playoffs. Detroit Lions sitting at 4-6 right now. Jay the Kid, give us your analysis on the Lions, please.
All right. Well, here we go. I know you've been talking about it with every team that's got a lot of cap. They have 114 million in cap. Let's see, their most expensive players, it's mostly their O-line from what I'm seeing. And Penei Sewell, he just got signed to a 6-year contract. Frank Ragnow, he's another 90 center. He's got 2 years left. Taylor Decker, and then the main guys like Aiden Hutchinson and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, even though he's hurt. But I mean, I'm looking at their free agents. I mean, they're definitely going to re-sign. Jameson Williams is definitely going to be re-signed. I don't think Montgomery will. I don't think so. Maybe Malcolm Rodriguez. He's a decent right outside linebacker. And DJ Johnson might get re-signed because he's got speed. But let's look at their roster right quick. Let's depth chart. Okay, so they got Hendon Hooker and Carson Beck. I know they've been starting Carson Beck this year, but in my opinion, I don't agree with that. I mean, I know he said Hooker's release is a little slow, but I don't know how you start a rookie over a former MVP. In my opinion, that's just me. But I mean, hey, also Beck is also younger. He's 21, and then Hooker's 27. But I wouldn't rate the book on him just yet. Halfback, they got the Madden Beast himself, Jameer Gibbs, 87 overall with 95 speed and 93 acceleration. It's disgusting. Love using him in Madden. That dude's a monster. Tight end, they got Sam Laporta and Donovan Green, two really good tight ends. I mean, Sam Laporta is only a 79, but he's got 86 speed and he's 6'3". And then Donovan Green, on the other hand, 75. He's 21, but he's a rookie and he's got 85 speed. Wide receiver room, a lot of speed, a lot of speed. They got 88 overall. Jamison Williams with 98 speed, 95 acceleration. Ben Perez, 98 speed, 98 acceleration. And then you got Joe Chavez, I think, who they've been using more. 95 speed and 91 excel. So you got a lot of speed. I mean, they even have height too. They got Roman Wilson. He's 6'2". So that's a pretty good wide receiver room, in my opinion. O-line, really great O-line. Frank Ragnow, as I was talking about earlier, 29, 90 overall star. Penei Sewell, he's going to be a staple for their offense for years to come. I mean, he's 24 years old. He's a 90 overall right tackle. And he's got, I just told you he got a new 6-year deal, so he's going to be their right tackle for years to come. Taylor Decker, a little bit older. He's 31. He's a veteran. 82 overall, though. So they got a lot of protection. Jonah Jackson, left guard, 28, but he's injured. So I think they've been going to Bernard Hall or Brandon Coleman at left guard. So they probably just get a left guard and get a replacement for Taylor Decker in the draft, if I'm being honest with you. D-line, you got the beast Aiden Hutchinson, right end, 90 overall X Factor. They have Lim McNeil. He's 80 overall, also a superstar. So they got two superstars on the right side. So I guess he's probably moving one to the left. I don't know. When he's in the in the depth chart in the game. Other than that, I mean, I don't see much on the D line other than those two guys. Linebackers, you got Jack Campbell at superstar, left outside linebacker, 83, 25 years old, 84 speed. You got Malcolm Rodriguez, right outside linebacker, 86 speed. And then behind Jack Campbell, you got DJ Johnson with 89 speed. Maybe I'd move. Actually, no, I wouldn't move him to user because they have two guys at middle linebacker that are rookies. Tavon Robertson, 67 overall normal dev. He's 6'3" and has 89 speed. So I'd probably develop him. I don't know if he was using him in training, but that's what I would do. Use him or Robinson in training. He's also he's low in overall, but if you use him, that awareness, it will it'll help them out since your awareness isn't high. So I would use her Tavon Robertson or Bentley, whoever is his preference. Corners, they have CJ Gardner-Johnson, 87 overall safety, but he's out for 6 weeks with a quad tear. So they also have Brian Branch backing him up. He's 85, 23 years old. So in my opinion, I don't see the need for like two high-end, superstar corners. I mean safeties. But he'll probably let CJ Gardner-Johnson go, or he'll re-sign him and move him to maybe the other side. That's what I would do. But I mean, for those other teams, I'd probably take a look at him in the offseason if he keeps his superstar dev, because I know injuries can derail your dev. Free safety, they have Malachi Starks, young 21-year-old free safety, 80 overall. Cornerbacks, you got Cooper DeJean, Uh, 80 overall, 22 years old. He's 6'1". A lot of corners. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 corners on the roster. That's the one thing I don't. I mean, I would probably try and ship off some of them because I mean, some of these guys have value. Like a Jared Bernard Converse, 71 overall, 25 years old. He's got a little bit of value because he's got 94 speed, 94 excel. I mean, you have Chris Ape. I mean, you got six. I told you 6 corners. It's a lot of corners, so I probably would have shipped some of these off because you do not need that many corners on your team. And I mean, that's about it for their team. I mean, other than the cornerback room, I that's the only thing I don't like having 6 corners on their roster.
All right, Vikings. Give us your take.
Yeah, when I look at this team, speed just sticks out. I mean, they got race cars for players. You got Jameer Gibbs at 95 speed. They're starting Jameson Williams, Ben Perez, and Joe Chavez at receiver. That's a 98, 98, and 95 speed. Just could take the top off of defense. A thing I noticed was Sam Laporta. I kind of expected him to be a little bit more developed by now. I haven't seen the Lions play much, so I don't know if the tight end just doesn't play a big role in his offense or if it's a Sam Laporta issue. If I was him, I'd look to start using him in training camp and maybe trying to get the ball to him to try and help that development speed up a little bit. Looking at their offensive line, they're a little old for my liking, but they're all really good. And you also have Bernard Hall starting at right guard. He's a 67 overall in his second year. I would maybe look to try and replace him. While he is a 67 overall, some of his blocking ratings are a little low for my liking. So maybe look towards the right guard position in the draft. And then you got Penei Sewell. He's locked up for the rest of the time. Looking at their defense, some of the things that I liked, they have Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, X Factor, 90 overall. It's a great guy to have on your defense, just a game wrecker. And after that, on the defensive line, it kind of takes a steep drop. So that's another place I would probably look to go towards in the draft. They do have all of their draft picks, so maybe look to gain a couple more to kind of fill some of these holes on the D line. Looking at linebacker, they have Jack Campbell. He's panned out for them. He's already at an 83 overall, and he is only in his third year. He's got 87 speed. I'm not sure if that's his user or if he plays him on the D line. I know he can kind of do both, but he's a great guy to have. He also has a rookie. His overall is low. He's at middle linebacker. He's a 66 overall, but what I like about him is he's 6'3" with 92 speed and 77 change of direction. So while his overall is low, if you're going to control him as your user, you can kind of make up for some of those lower ratings, like his awareness, which is really dragging his overall down. He's also got a veteran in Alex Anzalone. Kind of towards the end of his career, getting low in overall, but he's still a captain, a leader, great guy to have on the team. I was really impressed by his cornerback room as well. Speed everywhere. And they aren't the tallest, but his starters have 95 and 97 and 97 speed. This guy's team is just so fast. He's starting Chris Abrams Drain, Billy Bowman, and Jarek Bernard Converse. Those guys, they're all young. They're all fast. If he can win some games, start making some plays, getting some picks, those guys are going to develop fast. He also drafted Malachi Starks this year. He took him, I believe, in the first round, might have been the second. But 94 speed at 6'1", free safety. You got a rookie that's already an 80 overall. I mean, that's about as good as you can get. You're set for the future with him. And although CJ Gardner Johnson is hurt right now, he's an 86 overall and Brian Branch behind him, who's in his third year right now. I would maybe look to move CJ Gardner Johnson. He's commanding a little bit more money than Brian Branch is. And Brian Branch is a guy that you can kind of build upon and get him to develop. But looking at the two, CJ Gardner Johnson is considerably faster than Brian Branch, which might be the reason that they're continuing to play CJ Gardner Johnson. I expect this team to kind of take a step towards the end of this year and moving into next year. The roster is there. This team's going to develop. They're young. I believe when I played them the first time, it was his first game in the league, and he did not. I ended up beating him, but I've watched him as he's played the rest of his games, and he's gotten better every single week, and he's had close games with good teams. So I kind of expect him to continue getting better, especially with this roster. To you, Bears.
Yeah, I look at the Lions and I thought I had the cornerback university. No way in hell can I compete with this secondary. These guys have hit gold in every single category: safety, free safety, cornerback. They got speed to burn out there. Malachi Starks was picked up 22nd overall pick in the first round this offseason that we just passed. So that was a hell of a pickup at pick 22. I believe that they had I think it was 2 first round picks this year that they utilized very well. Carson Beck, you guys touched base on this quarterback. I would have never gave him the nod start. I would have kept Hendon Hooker. He did win MVP and offensive player of the year at quarterback the first season that we kicked off. So seeing that trend there, I mean, he was a brand new coach, so he had no idea of what accolades he had under his belt. Seeing a 27-year-old, 84 overall, you're probably like, okay, he's the X factor, but I need something young. I get that. But you could have easily inquired in the league, hey, what's going on with this Hendon Hooker guy? Like, what's his story? Everybody would have told him, yo, you're sitting on a gold mine. Jahmyr Gibbs, even in real life, this guy's a walking joystick. The moves that he makes with the actual lines in real life, bro, it translates well in the game. Montgomery, that was a good pickup by them as well, just in case he got injured. But Montgomery is a beast. We had him here in Chicago for a nice little long period, and obviously we didn't have use for him anymore. But I was happy that he was able to go to a team that was rumored to be a playoff team. So their running back core setup, the running back core setup, quarterbacks, that's the questionable section there. Not sure if he's happy with Beck's performance so far. Full tight ends, no fullbacks on the team. Laporta, you touched base on that. I was expecting way more yardage than what he's actually got right now. Laporta has a total of wow. Where's he at? Hold on, I just had him. 20 receptions for a whopping 268. So if you're not utilizing that tight end at all, there is 31 teams in the NFL that want him. They will utilize the crap out of him. So you can actually use that as trade bait. Yes, he's a 79 overall, but in return, you can even get as high as a late first round pick for him. I know a playoff team will take him off your hands real fast for a first round pick. Wide receiving core, gas. That's all I can say. 98 speed Williams, 98 speed Perez, rookie. Ben Perez was picked up in the second round, picked 22nd. Like, how the hell does he end up in the second round with that type of speed? Chavez, another late round pick in the fifth round, 22nd pick. So he did his homework. Obviously, you could tell he's been in the league before that's already been advanced X amount of years for him to have that inside knowledge. But man, that stuff is crazy. Great supporting cast all over the place. Everybody is 6'2" or 6 foot, except for Ben Perez, which is 5'9". That's understandable. Slot receiver, you don't need him to be tall. Just fast, shifty. Change of direction, 99. Jumping, 90. Catching traffic is 84. Looking at his offensive line, they're kind of old, but he's got some young pieces there that can actually take over the reins once Taylor Decker moves out, retires. Frank Ragnow, same thing, 29 years old, center. He's got some key pieces, though, that he can actually plug in right away. I touched base on this on the last morning show that we had. We just increased the offensive line XP gain. It was set at 100 by default. We fast-tracked that to 300 XP just because you're seeing all these defensive teams now, right? Let's say Titans, let's say Jets, Colts, Commanders, Niners. All these number one teams out there have a fast defensive line that it looks like you're playing mud out there. They all have stars. They all have some type of icon underneath their name. So how do we combat that to make the league not break down and be like, oh man, it's not fair anymore. Like, these guys are super teams. All right, you know what? We heard the whispers. Let's go ahead and let's counter it by 300 XP for the O-line. Case in point, we added on the league incentives just yesterday, a plus 10 for all the O-line, 4 categories. Why was that done? For that reason alone. We're tired of hearing the teams that are not performing out there have the worst lines. Hey man, I can't compete with this team. I think I'm gonna drop out. No, stick with us. We make things right. If we see something that's getting exploited, you know what? We'll find a counter for that. So that's the why behind the whole shifting the XP to 300, adding the 10 plus on offensive line. So that's going to give everybody the opportunity to compete fairly without having to sit there and, oh man, I got 0.1, 0.02 seconds to drop back, make my key reads, and throw the ball. Going to defensive line, Aiden Hutchinson. What else can you say? That man is a beast. Love his his charisma out there. 25 years old, 6'6", 81 speed, 90 acceleration. He can get right after the quarterback every single play. He rarely takes any breaks. The only thing that's surprising is that he's only 82 block shed. I would figure, you know, being a top-notch X factor, block shed would have been already at 90. So I would focus on building that up for him. McNeil, 25 years old. Pascal, 25 years old. It's all youth that he's got on the D-line. So he's set for the rest of pretty much the rest of this Madden title. Linebacking core, same thing. With the exception of Alex being 30 years old. Everybody else is either starting their career at 22, 23 years old, or in the prime, 26, 25 years old. And the speed, anything above 83 is perfect, and that's exactly where he's at. Secondary, I mean, we talked about it just as I started talking about the team. 90 speed Gardner Johnson, 91 speed Malaki Starks, free safety. 2 safeties with 90 plus speed. That's incredible to see. You have Cooper DeJean, 90 speed, 22 years old, 6'1". Like these guys got Bernard Converse, 94 speed, 94 Excel. Billy Bowman, cool ass name, Billy Blanks, 94 speed, 93 Excel. And the list just goes on. He's got a total of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 secondary players on his roster. And now you see why. It's kind of hard to part ways with defensive corners that are 90 plus speed. So the grade that I give the Lions, to be honest, even though he's got a 4-6 record, this team, the grade is A plus, with the exception of the quarterback position. We'll see if he attacks that via free agency or if he sticks to Carson Beck. But this team is built to win, and yeah, it's his first time in a comp league. He's used to playing sim style, so there's an adjustment period that takes place there. But seeing the way he has played, his schedule, he lost to the Vikings 24-49. He lost to us week 2, 13-16. Green Bay, he got smoked 45-10. Cleveland, he won, which is a really good offensive team, and held them only to 15 points. 49ers, 24-7 loss. Beat the Giants 37-21. Steelers lost 42-17. Bengals, the undefeated team, he lost by 6 points, 31-37. So this record could have easily been flipped completely around if it wasn't for a few bad calls. Going into the rest of the year, he's got the Bears, the Vikings, the Raiders, the Ravens, Panthers, Commanders, and Dallas. It's not an easy ending to his schedule, but I see him potentially making a run for the playoffs. And with that being said, we're going to jump on to the next team. The next team being yours truly, Chicago Bears. So we'll let the Vikings take the lead on this one. Talk to me about the Bears. The Bears.
Well, I just wrote an article about the Bears. It was my hot take was the Bears are playoff bound. I know that they are in trades talk. Maybe the trade has been completed. I'll let him.
Oh, not with you guys, but the other one.
But I know he traded away a lot of players, but he got his hands on what is most likely going to be the number 1 overall pick. I think in the end, it could be a good move depending on how he uses that number 1 overall pick. We know quarterbacks typically go for first overall, but he's set there. He's got Shadur Sanders. That's his guy. He's the franchise. But the reason I had the hot take of the Bears were about to make the playoffs this year was when I looked at their schedule, their losses are against very, very good teams. And looking at the rest of their schedule, it's an easier lineup. So they opened up with a loss against Green Bay. That one coming back around, I think he can end up splitting that series. They beat Detroit, then beat Dallas, and lost to the Vikings, who are a top half team in the NFL. Lost to Washington, another top half team. Cincinnati, they're undefeated right now. Then they lost to Baltimore. That one was a little bit of a surprising one to me, especially with the score. But loss is still a loss. But then they beat Tampa Bay, the Chargers, and then Cleveland. But they end their season, they lost to Cleveland. So they're sitting at 4-6 right now. But they end their season playing Detroit. I think that's a winnable game. Seattle, they should win that one. Minnesota, I think that's a winnable game for the Bears. The Giants, they should win that one. Green Bay, I think they should win that one. Pittsburgh, that's a winnable game. Philadelphia, that's a winnable game. I think there's a chance that we could see the Bears run the table. If not, get out of here with finishing the season with 1 or 2 losses and find themselves in a playoff spot. So, pretty exciting stuff. Now to their roster. I already mentioned him. Quarterback, Shadur Sanders, rookie, X Factor, 87 speed, 96 throw power. All of his accuracies are in the 90s. I mean, that's the guy. He is the franchise. His dad's the coach. The Bears went all in on him. So I expect him to be there and be good for a long time. Cam Akers was a part of that trade. He just picked up Travis Etienne. I think he'll end up playing Travis Etienne, Bears. I don't know if you want to say who you're going to play.
Yeah, we're
But,
starting Travis.
Because looking at the other 2 running backs on their roster, 86 and 89 speed, and not much that pops off the stat sheet there. I think Travis Etienne is a good way to go. I think he'll be usable and kind of fill in that void of Cam Akers well. Looking at their fullback, they have a rookie at fullback. He runs some stuff with fullback sets, but not a whole lot. At wide receiver, I mean, they just traded Gabe Davis and Nico Collins. Correct, both of those guys.
No, give me 1 second. I forgot the trade. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead and say it so I can remember it.
No, it wasn't Gabe Davis. It was
It was just Nico.
Yeah, it was just Nico. That one. Trades,
Okay.
The Bears and the Jaguars. So the official trade was the Bears send defensive tackle Tier Tart, halfback Cam Akers, outside linebacker TJ Edwards, cornerback Tyreek Stevenson, wide receiver Nico Collins. The Jaguars sent first round, first overall pick, halfback Travis Etienne Jr., cornerback DeCorian Patterson making a comeback to Chicago, and tight end Jaleel Skinner.
So with the loss of Nico Collins, that doesn't really hurt him at all. He's still got 3 wide receivers that are in the 90s. CeeDee Lamb, I believe, is a free agent this year. Yes, after this year. I'm not sure what decision he's made on that. I'm assuming he's going to choose to pay him. Looking at the tight ends, you got Oscar Delp. This guy, he's been really good for him this year. He's developing nice. He's got 87 speed. He's 6'5", a huge target for Shadur. And I've seen him kind of be like a safety blanket, a guy Shadur can trust and go to when he gets in a little bit of a sticky situation. Looking at their offensive line, Olu Fashanu, he's in his 2nd year. He's at 92 overall. Wow. You're set there at left tackle for a long time. At left guard, you have Tevin Jenkins. He's 27, so still towards the prime of his career at an 84 overall. Austin Corbett at center. He's 29. Falili Fa'amo is 23 and a 78. I'm assuming you're playing Falili Fa'amo to try and develop him. I'm not 100% sure on that. At right guard, we have a 26-year-old, 89 overall, Braxton Jones. Another solid offensive lineman, young in the prime of his career. And at right tackle, another young tackle that's already at a 90 overall. I mean, this is one of the best offensive lines in the league. That's great when you have a rookie quarterback. Also, it makes trading Cam Akers a little easier. When you have an offensive line this good, you can almost hand the ball to anybody and have them get yards. Looking at their defense, they acquired Kwity Paye earlier in the year. I think Kwity Paye is one of the most valuable players in the league. When you look at his contract, let me pull that up. Kwity Paye is making over the next 4 years, he's making $2 million, $3 million, $3 million, and then $4 million. So, I mean, a very, very cheap contract for a guy in his prime at 26, at an 86 overall, a superstar, one of the best, most valuable players in the league, in my opinion, when you can get a superstar defensive lineman on that type of contract. On the other side, he's got Odafe Owe, who's 26 at an 82 overall, a viable player. His speed jumps off the page, 89 speed on a right end at 6'5". It's a very valuable player, especially if you like to get a little weird with your defense and throw a defensive lineman out on a zone every now and then. He can be a great asset in that. At defensive tackle, they just traded away Terry Chart, so they will no longer have him. But they also have Vita Vea, who's an X factor. He is 30, so he's getting a little bit on the older side. But you can kind of ride him out till you're able to either replace him with a young player or you can go out and try and trade him. I would recommend just sticking with him. You can get a great value for him in a trade, possibly, but I think he's more valuable to your team with the ability to have inside stuff. Zach Pickens is the other defensive tackle on the roster. He's 25 at a 72 overall. I'll be interested to see how he develops getting more reps now. Probably a position that the Bears are going to look to draft, though, in the upcoming draft with an older starter and then a not so young other starter that's not very good just yet. Looking at his linebackers, Devin Lloyd, superstar, 81 overall, 26 years old in the prime of his career. Also has Leighton Vander Esch. He's got him on a pretty big contract for a 29-year-old, but he is 6'4", and I've seen him be a good user. He's at 85 overall. Also, he has Trayvon Walker, a former number 1 overall pick, an 88 speed, 6'5", middle linebacker. A lot of height and speed out of these middle linebackers. Right outside linebacker. Oh, you just traded TJ Edwards, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So moving to his cornerbacks, he just traded Tyreek Stevenson. That one's going to hurt a little. 99 acceleration, 91 speed is hard to replace, but when you look at Gentry Williams, you find the replacement right away. I mean, he's pretty much the exact same player, and he's 3 speeds faster. He's 22 already, or he's 22 and already at an 88 overall, only 1 overall below Tyreek Stevenson. So if you can get lucky with maybe a training camp development upgrade or a breakout game that you get, I expect Gentry Williams to be one of the best cornerbacks in the league coming up soon. He also has Christian Fulton, another good, viable cornerback, 86 overall, in the prime of his career at 26. Looking at his safeties, Max Melton, a second-year player out of Rutgers, 22 years old, 81 overall already. Great development out of him. It's a great player to have at free safety for the foreseeable future. And then he's also at strong safety, got the other Sanders. Already a superstar, 23 years old. 87 overall, 88 speed, just a stack secondary. He's also got three first round picks already. He's looking to go get more. I mean, this team is set for the years to come. Scary having this team in my division. So I expect to have a pretty good rivalry in the coming years with this team. Jets, on to you.
Give me it. Oh shoot, where's my phone? All right, my bad. All right, here we go. Quarterback, perfect. I mean, you got Shedeur Sanders, who's already in 91 at 22 years old. Jesus Christ, man's a rookie and already 91. That's dangerous. Cam Akers got traded, of course. They have ETN now, as we just said. I mean, I'm cool with ETN too, but I mean, they have a platoon of draft picks this year and next year. Oscar Delt at tight end. That's why they traded away. Who did you trade away? Bears.
I traded away Nico Collins.
No, tight end.
Oh, tight end. I
Was it
traded
tight-
away to the Chargers. What was his name? Oh my god.
Komet.
Yeah, Cole Komet.
Cole Komet. Yeah, that's why I said they traded away Cole Komet, and now they're opening up the depth chart for Oscar Delt. I mean, 21 years old, 87 speed. I love it. But then I look at this receiving unit. Wow. They got CeeDee Lamb from the Colts, Xavier Worthy, and Gabe Davis. All I hear is danger, and more danger. And Niles McDowell. He's 6'5". He's a Jesus. They got a great wide receiver unit. I love it. Their offensive line is up there, man. Wow. 90 overall, Olu Fashanu. J.C. Latham, 89 overall, right tackle. I mean, they're young. Braxton Jones is only 26. Kevin Jenkins is only 27. Austin Corbett at center is only 29. And then they have guys they're building up behind those guys. Wow. I mean, I love their O-line there. Defensive line, Jesus. Vita Vea, Kwity Paye, and Odafe Owe. That is disgusting. I love Odafe Owe. I mean, 89 speed. I mean, Vita Vea, what more can you say? Everyone knows about Vita Vea and how he plays. So that's a beast for you. TJ, and then defensive linebackers. I'm looking at the linebackers. They're not going to have TJ Edwards anymore. He's gone. I mean, Vander Esch is good for right now. He's a good placeholder. They have Trayvon Walker probably starting ahead of him as I'm looking at. Devin Lloyd. I like their linebacking core. I think they probably, I mean, they're going to get Patterson back. That's going to be a interesting return to Chicago in the secondary unit. I mean, add him along with, Shiloh, a.k.a. Deion Sanders Jr., because EA is stupid. I apologize for that dig at EA right now, but, Tyreek Stevenson's going, I think, he's in that trade, right? He's going away to the Jaguars, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Tyreek Stevenson's going away, but I mean, they have a good cornerback unit. I like it. I like the safeties. I like what they're building here, especially with all the picks that they're gonna have coming up in these next couple of years. That's where it's where I really want to see what the Bears do. What are they gonna do in this draft coming up? Are they gonna, the players they're gonna get? I mean, I know someone that they're targeting. I think that's gonna be a great move. I'm not gonna say who it is because I don't want to give away stuff, but I mean, it looks like the Bears are going to be set for the future, and they're going to be getting built by a great general manager so far. I mean, so far his tenure as the Bears general manager, with at least what they're doing in the front office, is going to get them wins. Honestly, in my opinion, it is going to get them wins in the future next year for sure. Because I mean, in my opinion, that trade that they made with the number 1 pick and all that, I mean, I think it's going to they're gonna mostly be setting up for next year more than they are for this year. But if they do make it this year, I mean, don't sleep on them. Do not sleep on Chicago. I like this roster, and I like what I'm seeing being built in Chicago.
All right. Well, thank you for the kind words. I got a
No
team
problem.
that's 90 overall right now, 128.21 million available in cap room. A lot of people like going for the marquee names. I was a victim of that with Parsons. It lasted me not even a whole season. Got him, used him for five weeks. Wasn't getting the production I wanted, that I was expecting for someone that makes 120 plus mil. So I thought to myself, hey, why am I paying this guy this amount of money to get the same production that 85, 86 overall defensive end could give me? So I put him in the market automatically. As soon as he went on the market, my phone started ringing. Guess who? Colts. I will give you the whole team for Parsons. When he said that, I thought he was joking. I'm like, yeah, okay. No, I'm being serious. What do you want? Whatever you want, you got. So we talked about players. Taylor was one of those players. Obviously that didn't happen, so we're like, all right, cool. Let's see what else we got. He recommended Pay. I looked at his contract and I was like, bro, you re-signed him for that amount? Yep. Like, shit. Okay, he's gonna be on the trade for sure. What about CD? What's his contract look like? Oh, I signed him already. He's good. Like, okay, let me look at his contract. I pull up his contract. He's 4 out of 5 years left in his contract, making 49.3 mil. For that caliber style player, 49.3 mil. I mean that's a easy let's do it. You're looking at other contracts that we've seen with top notch 99 overall Pickens making well over 100 mil. So at half of the cost for that type of player, you know what? Let's jump on it. When we make trades, we don't look at the overall. Like, yeah, it plays a little bit of a factor. My biggest factor is the contract situation. If you guys want to make a deal with us, that's the first thing I look at. Okay, cool. Let me see. Who are you willing to give up for X player? All right, awesome. Let me look at your contract real quick. I base it off of the years left. If it makes sense, it makes money. And that's why we got rid of Cole Kmet. Cole Kmet was, I believe, 24, 25, or 26. And I'm like, okay, cool. I drafted this rookie, Oscar Delp. He's got 3 points higher in speed, 87. Same height, faster acceleration. Catching is only 83 compared to 90 for Cole Kmet. I'm like, you know what? He's 21 years old. I'm saving salary. Cole Kmet's almost up in his contract. You know what? Let me ship him out. Let me start this
I
guy.
ain't doing much right now.
And when the Jaguars set us up, when we posted all the players on the block, I thought he was joking too. He's like, "Hey man, I'll give you whatever you want for those players that you have. My team is ass. I got whooped. I don't like that. This team has nobody. I can't compete. But I'm not gonna quit. I'm not that type of user. All right, cool. Shoot me an offer. But if your first round pick has to be involved if you want all those players." He's like, "Pick whatever you want. I don't care. I'm trying to rebuild my team. Yeah, it's gonna cost me my first round overall pick, but I don't need a quarterback. I'm happy with my quarterback, even though he's injured. And he had to pick up Trubisky. So I'm like, okay, cool. So you want my running back? Let's do a running back swap. They're both the same age. Your running back's contract's cheaper than my running back's contract. The only thing that I'm losing out is X factor. All right, cool. Let's do it. I gained. Cam Akers is 91 speed. Travis is 93 speed. So I gained 2 points on speed. Win. I lost in the X factor portion, but I got the speed. Next player, my old cornerback that I shipped out last year to the last user, or to the second to the last user. You know what? I missed Decorian Patterson. Bring him back to Chicago. Yours. But tight end, Jaleel Skinner. 41-year-old rookie that they signed this year. 87 speed, 6'5", 89 or 90 acceleration. All right, so I got a dual threat: Oscar Dope and Jaleel Skinner, both 21. I can flex one of them to receiver. Obviously not depth chart wise, but shifting him out so he can be a receiver, like line up as a receiver. That causes matchup problems. So I addressed what I needed because I picked up JJ Arcega-Whiteside just for depth. Got that hole filled that I needed. Wide receivers, I still got Gabe Davis on the market. I'm not really looking for much for him. He is 26 years old, star, 89 years old. His speed is 92, 94 excel. His catching is 93, catching traffic 94. So I'm looking for a late first round pick, maybe second, depending on what team gets him. But the only reason I have Gabe Davis on the market is because Niles McDowell, the rookie that I signed this year, 72 overall. He's been in training camp the entire year. 6'5", 90 speed, 90 acceleration. We're basically looking at Minnesota and their formula that they have a receiver with that 6'5" rookie that they also picked up. Same speed, same excel. Pretty much the same stats. It's like a twin brother that I got. So we're trying to emulate that play style that he has there with that receiver. But he's also up for grabs if anybody wants him. With him being 23 years old, with that height, that speed, he's going to cause problems red zone or anywhere on the field. Offensive line, we did the +10 on all of our starters, and we took our overall from, I think it was like 82 to like 88, 89, 90. We also used one on Khalil Pamoy. He's 23 years old, center, so we're building him up already for Austin Corbett. We picked him up in free agency because we needed a center to fill the void. I was tired of getting basically instant pressure up the middle, so I had to spend some money to get him at 29 years old. Defensively, we got Vita Vea, 30 years old. His play style and stats are all going to start decreasing after this year. We're fully aware of that. We had Tyre Tart that we were going to try to mold for a few seasons to carry us over, just in case we saw a drop in performance at that spot. But we're looking for a D tackle replacement. So we got that on the back burner right now. We don't know if we're going to attack the free agency, depending on what players show up. If nobody good shows up, then hey, we might attack the rookie draft. As they said, we have 3 first-round picks this year, so we should be able to find at least a decent replacement for the future that we can build up. Odafe Owe, we promoted him from linebacker to defensive end. Felt that his skill set would be better at defensive end. Because you can multi-use them. Like the Vikings said, we have him pass rush 90% of the time, and then when we're in the red zone, 10% of the time he's pulling stunts where he's backing up and covering the flats, doing the purples, doing the blues. So we got options with him. Zach Pickens didn't turn out to be the defensive tackle that we wanted to. We signed him 2 years ago as a rookie. The actual Bears did in real life, and he just never panned out. Javon Dexter was way better, and we traded him away. So we kind of put our eggs in one basket with Pickens. Hasn't progressed like we wanted to, so we're probably going to ship him out. Linebacking core, PJ Edwards plays amazing, but 29 years old, 6'1". We had to cut ties just because his contract was coming up pretty soon. I think in 2 years it expires. We picked up Van Der Esch for a lengthy contract off of free agency. We were competing with, I forgot what team it was, but they were basically force feeding the contract. So I put in a final offer. I guess he matched, and then the rest is history. but we ended up paying a lot for him as a filler. But we do have Tavius Robinson, which is 6'6" at middle linebacker that we're going to be using. 84 speed, 91 excel. So we'll be able to cover the gap on that. Our plans is to move Van Der Esch to right outside linebacker to basically take over TJ's spot. So we're not going to miss a beat there with the same overall, same stats pretty much. A little bit faster speed, a little bit faster acceleration. So that should get us more tackles for loss. Trayvon Walker is going to share the middle linebacker role with Tavius Robinson. And then Devin Lloyd and Tariq are going to man the left side of the field. Secondary, Deion Sanders. I don't know how I got him in the 3rd round, pick 12. Like I'm looking at the players' names and stuff, and I see Sanders, but the first name was all asterisks, and I'm like, okay, who the hell is this? Somebody in our draft party is like, oh, that's Shiloh. I'm like, what, for real? Yep. I looked at the college, it said Colorado. I was like, oh shit, it is. Boom, Bayless drafted him. Tyreek Stevenson, we found out that he was expendable. He does have 91 speed, 96 excel. We did get his man coverage up to 94, but we're building the rookie that we drafted this year, Gentry Williams. He's 22. He's already at 86, 94 speed, 97 excel. His man zone is 92, so we're only losing two points on that man zone. So we figured, you know what? We're gaining in the speed, we're gaining in the acceleration, but we're losing on man coverage. Man coverage can get built real easily, so we're like, you know what? Let's pull the trigger. We're losing an X factor. We're gonna get DeCorian back, another X factor. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a wash. We picked up Kristen Fulton from Cleveland. Glad we made that move. The first game that he ever played with us was a pick 6, 99-yard pick 6 that we got. Max Melton, we shifted him from cornerback. He was a rookie that got picked up with Patterson same year. We were developing him as a cornerback because that's what he came out of college with. And then we're like, you know what? Let's shift him over to free safety. Once we traded Brisker away to the Browns, we're like, you know what? We got this young kid, 22 years old, 6 foot, 88 speed, 91 excel. Pretty much the same concept. When hey, Brisker is this old, he's got the same speed, the same acceleration. Man or zone coverage, he had, I think it was 80. Max Melton's got 77. So we're like, you know what? Let's do the gamble. We got the replacement in house already. Let's do it. So right now we're looking to develop Casey Easley, 6'1", 21-year-old, 87 speed, 90 excel at safety, to potentially move Max Melton back to corner. We do have Carlos Presley and Pat McCartney at cornerback and free safety. Not explosive on speed, but potential's there. 26-year-old Terrell Smith, he's played a key role with the blitz packages. 92 speed, 96 excel. He comes in real hot off the corner. But yeah, we take pride in basically building a roster from the ground up. 2 years of having 2 wins back-to-back years was tough. But looking at year 3 and the development that we've made with this roster, when a lot of people were like scratching their heads saying, hey, why are you trading your best players away? We got a formula to our team management. And that's basically develop. If you don't develop, you get traded. But yeah, that's pretty much my whole take on the Bears. As far as the playoff contention goes, we're still aiming for the playoffs, but at the same time, we're not going to be heartbroken if we don't make it. Reason being because we traded away those 5 key players that is going to lower our overall for sure once the trade gets official. We're going to probably jump from a 90 overall team to 87, 86, and we're fine with that. I mean, our team plays at a high level regardless of what the score, the overall says. But yeah, that's pretty much it on the Bears. Next team that we're going to talk about is the Green Bay Packers. Jets, on you.
Give me a second. My computer just turned off on me.
Vikings, if you're ready.
I mean, I'm good.
Okay.
It's just my computer. My computer, like,
Called out.
It was in sleep. Yeah, it was in sleep mode. Packers. Oh, and I made a trade. I made a trade with the Packers, so yeah, we're good. But yeah, I made a trade.
Yeah, I'm on the side too.
Quarterback. Yeah, I'll hit that. I'll talk about that in a minute. But quarterback, you got Jordan. What's love got to do with it? Got to do. But got him at quarterback. He's an X factor. 92 overall. 26 years old, so he's in his prime, and he's gonna stay pretty high in overall for years to come. Running back room. I mean, you got Aaron Jones. You got Donovan Edwards, who, fun fact, shared the backfield with Blake Corum in college. Um, I guess they're gonna let Edwards, once Aaron Jones does like hang it up, they're gonna give Edwards the number one spot, or they'll look for somebody. But I would probably give Edwards the number one spot since he's young, he's got star depth. Unless you see someone that's like that is gonna be like a superstar dev. Uh, Tight ends and fullback, they got a fullback in Sammy Blanton, 82 overall. Tight ends, they got Musgrave. I'm actually like surprised to see that Musgrave's only a 75 to this point, if I'm being honest with you. And he's not even been devved up. Let's see. I mean, this year he doesn't seem to get utilized. He's only got 389 yards. So just like we talked about with the Lions and Sam Laporta, maybe so if you're not using him, trade him to a team that could use him. On that front, wide receiver room, it's a beast receiver room. You got 6'4", 208 pounds, 97 speed, 95 excel Christian Watson as the head of their receiving corps. He's like their new age Devontae Adams. They have Jaden Reed. He's star dev, 84 overall, 25 years old, 92 speed. Luther Burden, what a name. 81 overall, 21 years old, 93 speed, 95 excel. Torrey Horton. We've seen him be the kick return beast. Had that one kick return. I think it was against the Commanders. So I mean, their receiver room is stacked. He's also a superstar. So their receiver room is young and stacked. Offensive line, they have Elton Jenkins, left guard, 29 years old, 90 overall. Left tackle, they just traded away David Bakhtiari to me for a second rounder, and I think it was Max Mitchell to be the replacement. He's 25 years old, 71 overall. John Runyon, right guard, 80 overall, 28. They got some young guys, but they're like lower. Skylar Bayless, 68 overall. Calhoun, 68 overall, and Julian Montagain. I would think they might need to go younger on the O-line, but I mean, they are in the playoff hunt, so maybe get a little bit younger. I mean, you have Elton Jenkins. He'll probably give you a couple more years of good production and good blocking, so you should be fine there. And then I'm going on to the defensive side now, and we got Rashawn Gary, right end superstar, 27. Kenny Clark, 91 overall DT. He's 29 years old. X Factor. They have two X Factor DTs, actually. They have Zadarius Smith also playing DT. He's 32, and I've heard he's on the block, so maybe a playoff team, if they're missing a piece, maybe he can get a pick for that. They have Lucas Van Ness, left end, star dev, 24 years old. Preston Smith also on the block, but he's so old. I don't think you're gonna get much out of him, and he's only a 72, so I don't think anyone really would want him at this point. And then we're gonna shift into the linebacking core. You got Quay Walker. He's on the block, but he's also hurt at the moment. He's torn his hamstring, so he not be available to trade. As you know, you can't trade injured players. It's hurt. 25 years old, 88 speed. Definitely a great user. I think he also has a contract coming up, if I'm not mistaken. So he's someone I'd look out for if you need a middle linebacker. on the trade block. Devondre Campbell, 81, 32 years old, a little bit older, right outside linebacker. They have Shamar James, normal dev, 78 overall rookie, so he's probably using him in training camp. That's what I would do. Left outside linebacker Patrick Payton, 23 years old. He's 73 overall, 6'5", 85 speed. Tanner Muse, another dude he put on the block. Good user, 69 overall. He's 27, 90 speed. So he's good for that. I guess they maybe play a 3-4. I don't know for sure, but he's good for that because you got those two middle linebackers on the field. And then the secondary, pretty nice secondary. You got Jair Alexander, Eric Stokes, who I think is on a contract year. So that's another player I would, take a look at if he doesn't get re-signed in the offseason. Jason Marshall Jr., 84, superstar. So you got him behind Eric Stokes. He's got 93 speed. Darnell Savage is still on the roster. He's older at this point, 78 overall, normal dev. So, he's not someone you're really keen on having. Carrington Valentine, he's 74 overall, and he's 23, but he's normal dev. So maybe he's working on him. I don't know. But let's see, how much do they have in cap space? Not much cap space to play with at all. So that's why they're offloading players like Bakhtiari and all those players. They don't have much cap space, only 140K in cap. So, I mean, Bakhtiari getting offloaded should help them out immensely. They're most let me go back and look at their most expensive, not their most expensive, their upcoming free agents. So this is actually a list that's going to make you, think as if you're a general manager of one of these other teams. You got Christian Watson. He's got a year left, 90 overall, so he's going to be in free agency. Bakhtiari, no, he's coming to the Jets. Eric Stokes, 86 overall corner. He's needing to be paid. Quay Walker needs to be paid. That's a really big list. And I mean, they're trying to get that cap back, but I don't think they're gonna have to find a way to loosen up their cap and get rid of something. Because with that Christian Watson hitting FA and he's going to be a hot commodity, that's an issue. That's going to be an issue for that receiving room. Because I mean, losing somebody like Christian Watson, 97 speed, 6'4", that's going to be an issue, and then he's going to be an issue, and he's going to be someone like the Bears, the Broncos. Those are going to be teams that are going to be looking at him and trying to pick him up in free agency. So I can see why they're trying to get money, but I don't think it's going to be enough to re-sign these guys that they need for their team. So they're going to have to find, replacements in the draft, most likely. And I'm going to hand it off to, I think, Vikings is going to talk about the Packers, if I'm not correct.
Yep.
I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So I'm going to hand it off to you, man.
When I look at the Packers, currently they have one of the top rosters in the league as far as top to bottom right now. But they are in for some issues coming up this year. I looked at it. They only have $140,000 in cap for next year to spend. And they have I know it wasn't this coach, but the last coach signed Jordan Love to a deal where over the next 4 years he'll be making $54 million, $56 million, $59 million, and then $62 million. He is taking up a huge portion of their cap, and when you have guys, key players about to hit free agency, such as Eric Stokes, Christian Watson, Quay Walker, I mean, you're just going to have to let those guys walk. You don't really have a choice. You gotta just move on with them. You gotta look towards the draft, find cheap replacements for them because they're not going to really be a player in free agency. But with all that said, they're still not done for as far as for the next couple of years. They still have one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I know he's having a pretty down season. He's got 23 touchdowns to 21 interceptions, so got to kind of cut that out. But some things that jump out to me, I think it's time to move on from Aaron Jones. You can keep him because he still is a superstar, but I feel like he should be mainly a third down back. Donovan Edwards, in my opinion, should be getting the majority share of the touches. He's an 80 overall already at as a rookie. At wide receiver, he has Torrey Horton, as they like to say, Luther Burton, and Jaden Reed. Those are good guys to kind of replace Christian Watson. I wanted to, if the Packers are listening, I got a little friendly advice for him on his practice squad. I've found the triplet to McMillian and the Bears player. On the practice squad, he's got a guy named Ricky Dockery. He is 6'5", 22 years old, only a 68 overall, but 90 speed, 90 acceleration. His route running, a lot of work to do there. So definitely a project. But right now, he's already at a 79 catching, 80 catching traffic, 81 spec catch. It would be a project, but that's a guy you can look to that's going to be super cheap. He's coming off the practice squad. I think they can look there. So a little free advice for the division rival there. But looking at their defense, let me pull it up real quick. I know they're probably going to lose Eric Stokes this offseason. That's going to hurt them. I mean, 99 speed, you can't just find that anywhere. He's going to command a lot of money in free agency. But you still have Jair Alexander. He's getting a little bit older, but he is one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And they've done a good job in the draft. I know it was a previous head coach, but Jason Marshall Jr., he's an X Factor, 88 overall in his second year. And then I would also look towards Tariq Castro Fields to fill that role of Eric Stokes. 96 speed, 99 excel. It's a guy that can fill that role. Looking at his safeties, currently he has Darnell Savage playing free safety and James Williams playing strong safety. Probably need to look towards getting a replacement for Darnell Savage. He's getting up there in age. He's viable for right now, especially with the money situation that they have going. But at strong safety, they're set as long as they can keep him paid. A 6'5" strong safety, 89 speed. He's an X factor. I mean, in a division where you're having to play against guys like McMillan, guys like the Bears guy, I forget his name, but it's McMillan's twin. A 6'5" strong safety. I mean, that's the perfect guy to have. Looking at their linebackers, Quay Walker, gonna go ahead and chalk him up to going to free agency unless, well, he won't be able to work out a trade. He's hurt. Shamar James did a pretty good job getting him in the draft. He's already a 79 overall, decent speed, decent acceleration. Um, After that, the linebackers are kind of thin. I mean, that's a position to need. You still have Devondre Campbell. He's in his 10th year. I mean, you gotta start looking elsewhere. So I'd say linebacker is a big position that they need to fill. He didn't have much depth there this year, and he's definitely not going to have much depth there next year with Quay Walker in all likelihood, unless he can pull a cap miracle off leaving. Looking at his defensive line, Rashawn Gary, 93 overall. He's getting a little up there in age, but I mean, a right end with 91 speed. I mean, you can't. It's the perfect player, versatile, great guy to have. He also has Lucas Van Ness, uh, great player. Seems to have really hit on him in the draft. He's in his 3rd year, at an 84 overall. He also has Colby Wooden. Shout out to Colby. Played high school ball with him. Um, Maybe would like to talk trades to get him. So, looking at the defensive tackle, Kenny Clark, 92 overall, X Factor. He's also getting up there in age, but I mean, you got to kind of hold on to the guys you got. Right now, he's still a game wrecker. He's still viable. You also have Zadarius Smith, also kind of getting up there in age, um, but still an X factor. Looking at their offensive line, this was another place that I kind of was a little worried about as far as how the roster's built. They just traded David Bakhtiari. He would have been a free agent, so they at least got something for him. I believe the Jets said they got a 2nd round and a replacement. So you can go ahead and start working on that replacement. You still have a 90 overall at left guard, so that'll be good. But your center, I mean, Josh Myers, you're going to have to kind of stick with him. He's in his 5th year already, and he's still a 77, so I don't expect him to get much better than that. John Runyon, he's viable at right guard at an 80 overall. Zach Tom in his 4th year at a 76 overall. With the way his money is right now, I'd expect him to not really be able to make too many improvements, and unless he's in the draft, but I expect him to probably go another direction than offensive line in the draft. I know Jets already hit on it, but Luke Musgrave, if you're not going to use him, I will hit my line. Let's talk. We can get something done for that. But overall, I'd say the Packers, they're going to be in a tough spot for these next couple of years. Every team in the division around them is getting better roster wise, and you can tell that the coaches are getting better. They're going to have to play around with the cap a lot, see what they can do, restructure deals, try and make stuff work to get a roster out there that can at least compete, or they might just have to make the decision to blow it up. I would probably lean towards keeping Jordan Love and a couple of these younger guys that have already developed well and blowing it up. But we will see. It's going to be interesting what happens. On to you, Bears.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Packers are in this type of situation. I had no idea. Like, I never check them out for any type of trades or anything. And seeing them have less than what a Lamborghini costs to buy, like, whoa. Let me see. They have, I don't know how they were able to sign Jordan Love for 8 years total. But man, that salary for that player, I mean, he's kind of worth it, but not $190 million in bonuses worth it. So I'm not sure what happened there. We may have to implement something along the lines to where when players like that happen, even though it wasn't your fault, we might have to set up some type of rescue package. This is the first time I've seen something like that happen. But well, that's for a different day, different show. As far as like their team built, they have a lot of key players that are about to hit free agency, and the number one target is to be Christian Watson. Everybody watching the podcast or watching the show, they're gonna go straight for that 6'4", 97 speed, 95 excel wide receiver, hands down. So you're gonna see all 31 teams bid for that team or for that player. I see the Jets possibly being able to get them. Dallas is going to play a heavy role trying to get that player, seeing as they just traded Darnell Mooney. So look out to see who the biggest sweepstakes. That could also be a big decline for whoever does take him, because you're going to have multiple offers, and that's going to fluctuate the actual player cost. So if you want to bid, I would say bid. But after your third attempt, let it go. Let it ride. If not, you're going to have a wide receiver in your roster making 190 mil. And you saw what happened here with Jordan Love. To the fullbacks, Musgrave, gotta go. Gotta go. Also, we got to start releasing some players or anybody that's got minor contracts, get them off the team if you're not using them. You got a lot of defensive line players, a lot of offensive line, linebackers you're good on, secondary you're good on. So whatever positions you have that you can shave a player or two, I would easily do that. Fullbacks, tight ends, you have 2 fullbacks on the roster. No need for that. 3 tight end sets. You're going to go all the way down to 2 tight ends and keep that fullback as a flex, as a tight end as well. But you got to be creative with this roster in order to try to save the cornerback or the wide receiver and not lose 2 great players off rip. As far as everything else, you guys pretty much touched base on everything I was going to say. I was just sitting there listening. I'm just like, okay, so what am I going to talk about? But yeah, that pretty much sums it up for the Packers. They're in a tough spot. Middle linebacker, you got a lot of trade bait there that you can get rid of. If any of them are making a lot of money, dish them out. It's gonna be rough the next 2 seasons. We understand that, but try to get draft capital when you make these trades. Not 1 draft pick, not 2. Try to get 3 or more, depending on their overall. Right end, you got a 92 overall, 27-year-old. All right, ship him out. Let's build somebody else up. D tackle, you got 2 X factors. No need for 2 X factors. Ship one of them out. Ship both of them out, and then start fresh. At this point right now, with this grace period trade offer that we put out that expires on the 2nd, I would start cleaning house. You're already at the bottom of the league in the division. Playoffs are pretty much done for you. I would take this opportunity right now to, hey, you know what? Let me unload. I'm a seller. So I'm not looking to win more than 5 games. So you know what? Let me get draft capital. And all these X factors that you have, if they're kind of old in age, 29 and up, 28 and up, put them in the market. Yo, I'm trading this. I'm looking for multiple draft picks and rebuild from free agency. If you do it right, or not free agency, the NFL draft. If you do it right, your turnover rate between having losing seasons and not is a lot shortened, because now you got the equity in the drafts to basically get lucky and hit gold on a player that you drafted in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round that's a 79 overall. It's easier to bump up because they're rookies. A lot of the rookies coming out are 20, 21, 22 nowadays. So that's the way that I would take this roster and try to flip it. You guys seen it just now. I put five or six or seven players on the market. Majority of them were getting up in age. I don't wait till the last minute. I give them up while they're still in their prime, for the most part. Even at 26 years old or 25 years old, Tyreek Stevenson, you know what? He's pushing up there. I already got the replacement in place. Let me just push him out, get somebody younger, and work it that way. You got to be creative with your roster. Like I know everybody likes having superstars and X factors. Luckily, the league has something in place where you can get an X factor on pretty much every rookie that you draft for the next 3 years. So take that into consideration. Yeah, I'm losing 2 X factors off the line, off the D line. But hey, you know what? This offseason, let me pick up one more. Next offseason, okay, I'm gonna lose a superstar right end. I got a superstar right end the following season. You got to think ahead in the future. Like you can't just focus on the now. You got to focus on the next 3 years. What I tell everybody when I talk to them about building a team, you're not looking at right now. A lot of people are too narrow-minded where they're just focused on the now and they're not thinking about the future, and that's how you end up in this situation. Granted, it wasn't the Packers Camp issue. That's what he acquired. My bad for that. But you can't sit there and dwell and complain about, oh man, I got dealt the wrong end of the stick. Like this is bullshit. Life sucks. That's not gonna help. It's just gonna stress you out even more. Biggest way to combat that is, how do I make my team better? What steps do I take? What advice can I get? And that's what this show is all about giving you guys hope, ideas. Maybe you didn't know that, hey, case in point, the Buffalo Bills. Did not know he can switch a cornerback to safety or safety to cornerback. I forgot what it was. Sitting on a gold mine at free safety, I think. Converted him over to a cornerback. Played pretty good against the Jets. So this is the whole reason why we're doing this show. It's not just to talk and ramble on, but to give you guys basically knowledge that you might not have on your team. Other people looking from the outside in, it's a lot easier for us to critique the team as opposed to you that you have the team. You think you're all good. You think you know you have a plan. When you got more eyes talking about your team, hey, you know what? That makes sense. Shit, I didn't think about that. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, this is how you develop that? Okay. Oh, that's what they look at to build up the player quicker. That's what this show is all about. Informational knowledge. So take it as whatever way you want to take it. We're bashing your team. Okay, then that you're never gonna get good. If you take it as okay, constructive criticism, hey, by all means, you're gonna elevate your game. And not only for this league, but every single other league that you're part of. So the tools that we give you here is to basically improve your Madden career in the long run. Not just for us, but for every league that you play in. Hey, maybe the leagues that you're in, they don't know how to do all this stuff. You got an upper hand. So you know what? You're gonna build your team quicker in the next league. But that's why we do what we do. It's fun for us because we get to talk football, especially when you're on a 2-week leave. It's like, man, there ain't nothing to do. There's only there's only a lot of Call of Duty that you can play until you get burnt out. But this is why we do the show. Guys, what are your closing remarks? Anything special for any of the teams?
Ain't really got much. I do think that we could try and like find some sort of way to help the Packers out. I didn't realize it till just now, but 190 million in bonuses.
Yeah, that's
I
what killed it.
mean,
That's what killed it. So I'm gonna reach out to him and let him know that I'm gonna do a little crisis move, because I don't know what the last Packers user was smoking, but 190 mil in bonuses, that's bullshit. So we're gonna cut that down manually.
I apologize.
maybe
My Discord was bugging out. I apologize.
But what else did you have, Vikings? My fault for cutting you off.
Oh, you good? I was just gonna tell him look into that guy on the practice squad. If practice squad stealing was on, he'd be on my roster right now. So
Trust me, he would have been of mine as soon as week 1 opened up. Starting next
Fine
season,
too.
we're gonna open up free. Practice squad is not gonna be locked. Period. So everybody is forced to either be there at the draft or immediately after. We will have like a 2 or maybe okay. So our draft starts at 9. At 9 a.m. the very next day after the draft, practice squad will be opened up. So we're gonna lock it for that period, so everybody has an opportunity to get their players. After that, it's a free for all. I've seen a lot of running backs that I can't take because they're in the practice squad. So, moving forward next year, practice squad locked only for the first few hours. Once 9 a.m. hits, it's a free for all. Jets, go ahead.
I don't really have much. I mean, I would tell the Lions either you start Hendon Hooker or trade him at this point. I mean, Kenny Pickett just got traded. Speaking of quarterbacks who aren't being used anymore, getting traded. Kenny Pickett just got traded for a first-round pick to the Patriots.
What?
So there's that. Yeah, you heard it here first.
Damn.
Well, it's pending. But you get what I'm saying. You got Kenny Pickett out here getting traded. You got you have a former MVP essentially collecting dust on the bench. You have a former MVP collecting dust on the bench. There's got to be somebody who wants that quarterback on their team. I mean, he's 84, X Factor, 27 in his prime. So somebody want anybody. We've been saying it. There's 31 teams in this league, and I'm kind of I'm not saying he's not in the market for me, but there's somebody out there, maybe like I don't know, Giants or something. Somebody wants Hendon Hooker. That would be somebody I trade if you're not going to use him, because having an X factor, not play, and you're not and he's not on someone else's roster with because you can get value out of that. You can get value out of that if he could get get something, a first, or get some value out of that. Don't just have that man collecting dust on the bench. That's my one thing I wanted to say.
Is anybody on PlayStation right now?
I am not. I mean, I am, but I'm on MLB. What's going on?
I was gonna see if any. Oh, you know what? I can see it here. Can I? All right. So he's got Omaha, Persistence, Spin Cycle, and Closer.
You get them up. I mean, if you get them up, you'll get those. You get those. Those better abilities as you build him up. Like I was looking at my I hate to use Penix as an example because it's supposed to be an NFC North, type thing. But Penix already has his quick draw, I forget the rest of them, but he has some decent abilities just to start him out. But I mean, hey, if someone gets him, congrats, because Omaha is a good ability to have. You can see what your opponent is doing. So, I mean, hey, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Shador just unlocked Omaha. Quick draw, protected. Oh man, I love this. Set feet lead. Man. Oh.
Yeah, I have to wait. I have to wait a little bit because Penix is only like at 86, so I have to wait a little bit. Might have to reach into the bag of points and
What's
just
What's your guys' take on the whole incentive store? Do you think it was well worth it? I know everybody in the league was like, man, we're doing all these freaking articles, but we don't see the incentives. Is that a unicorn? Are we never gonna see it? And then boom, we drop it like it's hot.
I mean, you're getting your money's worth if you just do, you take the time and you do stuff. I mean, you're getting your money's worth. I mean, you see, my whole O line went up from I have a bunch of 70s on my O line, and I even have a backup. My backup's way better than what he was. He went up 4 ratings. So I mean, if you actually, put the time in, you'll have you'll have some stars, and you'll be able to, compete, and I'll help your team grow. So I mean, in my opinion, I like it.
Vikings, your take on it?
I don't think he's in here anymore.
Oh, he's not?
No.
Yeah, so that pretty much concludes the whole podcast or the whole show. Tomorrow we'll be back up live at either 1:30 p.m. Talking about the final division, which is the AFC South, NFC South. The most anticipated one that we have yet. We got the two powerhouse teams in the AFC. Hopefully, our buddy Isaiah, aka the Colts, gets enough rest tomorrow morning to where he can be excited and ready to go for his Colts analysis. We hope to have a lot of people chime in on our final episode. If you guys watching now want to tune in, join us in this, by all means, let me know. We'll open up the public service since it's our last episode that we do in a row. Moving forward after tomorrow, this show will take place every Saturday in the morning because it's a morning show, and it's gonna be a lot different. So
Yeah, we won't be just talking about what we talk about now.
yeah, it'll be completely different. We'll have different topics that we discuss, and yeah, we'll make it fun. Obviously, we're gonna have a regular podcast show every single day. Time's still being worked on, and we're bringing you guys all this content, man. Thank you guys for soaking it up, being a part of it. In the chats, I forgot to read them out, but we have Roscoe, say go Pats, then Hunter, F that contract, Outcast with the smiley face. Appreciate all the support. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get notified whenever we go live. And Jay the Kid, thank you for coming by again.
Of course.
And yeah, we're gonna get ready for tomorrow podcast or the last episode of the morning show for this week, and then we'll kick off live next Saturday. So until then, catch you in the next one.